The head of Russia's Central Elections Commission has claimed that Russia has an older democracy than the US, because Russia appointed its first Moorish general 2 centuries before the first African American made that rank. When Vladimir Korov meets his colleagues from the US and they get too proud of their democratic achievements, I ask them what to me is a simple question: in what year did the US Army get its first black general? Head of the Elections Commission Vladimir Korov told state-run TASS news agency on Saturday, a day before Russia's local elections. Most Americans struggle to give a precise answer, but in any case nobody claims that such a general appeared before the end of World War II. Korov was Cormand, the first African American to be appointed general in the U.S. Armed Forces, was Benjamin O. Davis, Sr., who made brigadier general in 1940, a year before the U.S. was forced into the war and 5 years before it ended. Korov said he shows his conversation partners an image of Russia's first black general. Abram Petrovich Gannibal was a Moorish Russian nobleman, military engineer and general. Kidnapped as a child and presented as a gift to Peter the Great, he was raised in the emperor's court household as his godson. Gannibal eventually rose to become a prominent member of the imperial court in the reign of Peter's daughter Elizabeth. He is the great-grandfather of the author and poet Alexander Pushkin, who, according to the elections chief, was appointed in 1740, TASS reported. Korov said the example usually ends all argument on which of the two countries has a longer history of democracy. TASS reported presumably to Russia's advantage. Korov did not elaborate on his definition of democracy and did not clarify how the appointment of a Moorish Russian as a military general under Russia's monarchy proved the country to be more democratic. Nowadays in Russia, Gannibal is known less for his military achievements and more for being the great-grandfather of one of Russia's most iconic literary figures. Author Alexander Pushkin was a Russian poet, playwright, and novelist of the Romantic period who is considered by many to be the greatest Russian poet and the founder of modern Russian literature. Pushkin was born into Russian nobility in Moscow. His matrilineal great-grandfather was Abram Gannibal, who was brought over as a slave. Pushkin published his first poem at the age of 15, and was widely recognized by the literary establishment by the time of his graduation from the Tsarskoye Selo Lyceum. While under the strict surveillance of the Tsar's political police and unable to publish, Pushkin wrote his most famous play, The Drummer Boris Godunov. His novel in verse, Eugene Onegin, was made into story between 1825 and 1832. Pushkin was fatally wounded in a duel with Georges Childs de Corinthians, a French officer serving with the Chevalier Guard regiment, who attempted to seduce the poet's wife, Natalia Pushkina.